Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bold Unstoppable Show. I have three phenomenal ladies with me today, and we are going to be talking about, some badass stuff that we talk about on the show that affect us women in today's society. I am Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, known as the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, and I hope you are ready because the conversation gets deep. We're honest, we're open, and we want to share wisdom with all of you who are watching. So if you haven't already subscribed to the show, please subscribe to the show. Share it with everyone, every woman out there. Share it, even the ones that don't think they're badasses, because they are. They just need to have that awakened up in them. Okay, so today's show is Her Story, the Making, and it's honoring Women's History Month. And so I'm going to officially open it up and say, hello, my beautiful, bold, and unstoppable queens, and welcome to the powerful and soul-stirring episode of this month's Bold Unstoppable Show. I am your host, Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, and today we are standing in the presence of legacy. This month, we're celebrating Women's History Month, but not just looking back. We're looking around, we're looking forward, and we're looking behind us, and we're looking in front of us, because her story isn't just about the past. It's about the fierce, fearless women still rising, breaking barriers, still writing chapters with every single step that they take. So today's conversation, Her Story in the Making, honors the trailblazers who came before us, the trailblazers in the house with you today, uplifting change makers among us, and those who plant the seed of legacy for the generations who will follow us, particularly us women and our future female generations. Now, our panelists are living proof that women's history is not confined to museums or textbooks. It's being made every single day in the boardrooms, living rooms, and Zoom rooms across the globe. So queens out there, let's celebrate, reflect, and reignite the fire of possibility as we dive into a conversation that honors the past, empowers the present, and boldly allows us to build and step into the future. Now, today I have with me Rebecca Lyons. I have Lesley, and I'm going to mess up. I'm just going to call it Lesley Pad because I don't want to mess up the name.
It's just Pazdzioch. It's easy.
And SuZan. So, ladies, I want you to take about 30 seconds to introduce yourselves and say where you're from. Rebecca, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm Rebecca Lyons. I am based outside of Toronto, Ontario, in Canada. I'm the founder and CEO of HerStory, an AI-powered women's health companion, helping empower women in their health journey.
I love it. Well, welcome, Rebecca. And now Miss SuZan. I love the way you spell SuZan. I love that.
Thank you so much. Such an honor to be here with you, ladies and queens. It's Susan from Toronto as well. And I am a peak performance mindset coach. This is literally my living my mission, divine purpose. And I retired from real estate right before COVID to pursue my divine purpose in serving our one world. So it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Doc.
Thank you, Susan. And my apologies for saying your name incorrectly.
It's written like a SuZan.
But that's a pet peeve of mine, because your mama, when she named you that was the first words you heard. And so it's very important for us to get our names right. So thank you, Susan. But I still love the way it spells.
Thank you.
And Miss Lesley, tell us about you and where you're from.
My name is Lesley Pazdzioch, and I am actually born in California. I currently live in Colorado now. I'm the founder of Inspiring Creative Insight, which is a shell company, but really I'm the host of Life Made Easier podcast, and now here really shortly the Living from the Inside Out online learning community that's going worldwide. And my mission and my purpose is to actually bring mental and emotional healing to the world and teaching them what I did, and really bringing people together, because I know from my own experience, healing doesn't have to hurt, and it's actually a gift we give ourselves. And so often it's like misunderstood. And that's what I teach people. Healing's a freaking gift that we just, we need to just try. Just own it.
Own it.
Because you know what, the pain comes. I swear, the pain comes from the experience, and we hold on to that pain, thinking about that experience. But if we just heal that stuff in a healthy way, realizing that healing is a method of becoming stronger,
Transformation.
growth. It just makes us.
Yes.
Actually,
Yes.
we
So
go
I want to jump in. So thank you,
Okay.
Lesley, for sharing. Thank you so much. Now I wanted, because we just have a certain amount of time. So I want to jump into our dialogue and our conversation. And the first question I have for you panelists are, when you reflect on the women who shaped your life, who stands out as a personal trailblazer, and what legacy did she pass on to you? And so I'll just start with you, Rebecca. When you think about, that question, who was the woman who helped shape your life?
I'm really fortunate to have so many wonderful women in my life. It's hard to choose just one, but my mother was always there for me, very supportive of my dreams, an incredible person. She worked very hard through her life and through her career to provide for us. And when I decided that I wanted to take up singing and songwriting, she was right there at every show. Did this as a teenager, and I actually went to school before I did my degree for independent music production. So really supporting my entrepreneurial dreams from a young age. And she's been my number one fan as I go through as an entrepreneur, building the business of HerStory. I have a couple of others on the go. And so I would say my mom is definitely number one in my book.
Oh, I love it. What about you, SuZan?
Oh, I love it too. Thank you so much for asking. For me, I feel fortunate with a lot of women as well. But if I had to pick one, it would be the big O for Oprah. She's been my inspiration ever since I was a kid. I grew up with watching her, and so I would pick her if I had to pick one person.
I love it. What about you, Lesley?
I would have to pick a woman that I actually cared for when I was working in college. I helped her. Her name was Jean. I can't say her last name because I'd have to get her permission. She's passed, but she was the woman that really brought out that elegance, that refined woman. She's the one that helped me realize my value and my worth, and that I was really beautiful and graceful and worthy of my own attention and time, and demanding respect. So I'd have to say her. She was
I love
fabulous.
Love it. Okay, ladies, we got to take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to continue the dialogue, and I'm going to dive deeper in to what we're talking about with regards to her story. We'll be right back to the Bold Unstoppable Show in just a few moments. Stay tuned. Okay, it is Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, and welcome back to the Bold Unstoppable Show. And so I asked the ladies, when they reflect on the woman who shaped their life, who stood out as their personal trailblazer. Now, with regards to my own personal trailblazer, I've had several, but if I have to think about it when I relate to business, I would have to say my paternal grandmother. She was very innovative. She did all kinds of high society things. Once she moved from Boston, Massachusetts to San Francisco, and then from San Francisco down to Menlo Park, California. And she was a Renaissance woman. And so when I was a little girl, I was called princess, and I thought that meant I was a queen in training, because only princesses go to the queens, right? And I wanted to be a boss. And so I told all my cousins that were boys, by the way, I was the only girl, that I was going to grow up and be a boss and own my own business and work around the world. Now, this is in the early 70s, y'all. There was no working around the world anywhere, right? It wasn't even a vision, maybe, but it wasn't anything that we could see. And my one aunt told me, who did I think I was? I couldn't do that. But my paternal grandmother told me I could be anything I wanted to be if I was tenacious, if I kept my mind open and learned, even if what I saw did not agree with me. There was always a moment for learning, right? And never, ever let a man stop me from doing what I wanted to do. Because when we let a man stop us, we're not able to fulfill our dreams or our, as we say, our destination. We're not able to get to our correct destination. And that always stuck with me. So I would have to say Thelma, my grandmother Thelma was one of the many women who shaped me and my life when I was young. Now, ladies, the other part of the question that I wanted to bring up was the woman that you named that was a woman who shaped your life and who stands out as your personal trailblazer. What legacy did she pass on to you? And then what legacy do you hope to pass on to others, such as women that are watching us today? And we'll start with you, SuZan.
Wow. Well, how can one follow Oprah? My life's work ever since I was a kid, I'm so proud of how you knew that at such a young age in the 70s. This is all I've wanted since the 80s, except I never believed in myself. And I learned to believe in myself and learn about my own divinity and know that you are me, I am you, and that we are all one. I learned this from Oprah without knowing about universal laws, which is what I teach now. And I didn't quite understand. I was much younger. And what I really want to leave the world with, every precious soul, men and women, is to know their divinity and know that you are a spark of the divine, and that you literally can, as Grandma Thelma, bless her words and bless her, said, you can be, do, and have anything. And I'm getting goosebumps as I can never get tired repeating those words. I really believe that is everyone's divine birthright, and that you are royalty and there's royal blood coursing through you. So if I can just leave every human with that, then I've done my work.
I love it. I love it. That's beautiful. I got a goosebumpy too when you were talking. Lesley, what about for you? You said a lady, she's passed on now, Jean, she's passed on. But what legacy did she pass on to you? Even though you may not have been her biological child, because sometimes, a lot of times, those legacies come from people that are not biologically related to us. What did she pass on to you?
You know, at the time I was actually 40, I went to college late, but I was 40 years old and she was 80, 84, 85. But what she taught me was a ton of stuff, but the most valuable thing that she taught me is the difference in our generations, you know, because she grew up, 85 years, so that she had like nannies and stuff, you know what I mean? And I grew up differently, but what she taught me is so valuable is that there's so much knowledge in that diversity, right? In the different cultures, in the different age groups, that she taught me things from her stuff that I got to choose. What am I taking, and appreciate it for that generation, but then be grateful now that it's not part of the world, but there were still things about her that I loved and adored, right? And she thought I was the shit. She said if she could have another daughter, she would have had me. And I was thinking, you know what? If I could have had a mom, that she would have been her. She was wonderful. You know, she grew up when there were black slaves and such, and I totally don't understand that, right? I mean, it just doesn't.
Right.
I can't wrap my brain around it. But I appreciate it because that's where her generation is. But then I appreciate the fact that it's no longer part of society. You know, it's not. And we're all one race, and it's called the human race, right?
No, it's so powerful when we have ladies in our lives that are older than us and leave words of wisdom. I remember one night as I was, working in the ER, doing ER trauma with me and the other RNs that were on my team that were all males. I was the only girl. That's a theme that runs in my life. And I had this 94-year-old lady who was having a heart attack, and her family's all around and they're worried. And I'm, at that time I had 5 people having a heart attack or some kind of cardiac incident. And I'm talking to her, and she's just talking like me and you, and she said, I don't know why they're worried. I just need a shot of Jack Daniels and I'll be okay. And I laughed at that. And so, as I got to, circulate around my patients, I would come back to her and finally I got it, and I said, what's your secret to longevity? Because she didn't look 94. And she said, to always surround yourself with women that are smarter than you, to always be around young people because they keep you in the know of society. Not at the time, your decade or your generation, but at the time it is right now. Never stop learning and be carefree and fancy, because really at the end of the day, when you pass away, no one's gonna remember all the good stuff that you did. They're gonna remember some of the crazy, unbeknownst stuff that you do, and you never know by doing that unbeknownst stuff who you give permission to be themselves. And that always stuck with me. I was like in my 20s, and I'm like, well, that's already me, but I'm not going to hang out with teenagers. But I thought that was amazing information, because when I think about our female generations today and our future female generations, like my daughter who's in her 30s and, nieces and stuff like that, it's like, what information should we be sharing with these young ladies that frees them from the traps, the chains, the handcuffs that males put upon us and tell us we can't do? And so this is one of the reasons this show came about, was because we need to educate our future female generations that you don't have to put up with anything that doesn't resonate with you, especially if it's coming from a man. And you think about HerStory and history, Women's History Month. The women, Oprah, and so many others were trailblazers. And I best believe that a man told them they couldn't do something, and they were like, really? Watch me. I got this. I'm not going to tell you I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you and leave my legacy. We got to take a quick break, but we will be right back to the Bold Unstoppable Show with Rebecca, SuZan, and Lesley. Stay tuned. All right, we are back to the Bold Unstoppable Show, and I've got these phenomenal panelists with me, and we're talking about HerStory because it is Women's History Month, and we want to celebrate the trailblazing women of the past, the present, and the future. And one of the ladies I think that really was a trailblazer, and I'm going to take it way back, is Queen Nefertiti in ancient Egypt. Here's a lady that it's been rumored, documented, things of that nature, that when her husband Akhenaten decided to change Egypt from having many gods to worshiping one god, his queen Nefertiti had to stand behind him she didn't stand behind him, she stand next to him, and they created a new way for ancient Egypt to worship, right? And then when he passed on, it's rumored that she's one of the 5 female queens or pharaohs in the history of Egypt that went on and became pharaoh and took on that power, that essence, that dignity of ruling the land of Egypt way back when. So that's in the past. We have Oprah, who's in the present, along with many other ladies, Sheryl Sandberg, Melinda Gates. There's a lot of ladies doing a lot of things out there, and there's some that we don't even hear about. But when it comes to the most powerful legacy, what do you believe is the most powerful legacy that women in the history have left us? And how are you continuing that work in your own life and in your own business? And Rebecca, I want to start with you with regards to that question.
Yeah, that's a really wonderful question. I think women throughout history have always been trailblazers. They've always been making this change. And a lot of it we don't even realize or know came from the women before us, right? I don't know if anybody's seen Hidden Figures or read that book, right, about rocket scientists. We've got many women who have developed different scientific methods for researching people and immunology and other things like this. And some of this is even written out of our history books, and other, men take claim over what women create, but we don't stop creating and we don't stop innovating and we keep moving forward. And I think in this day and age, it's more important than ever to continue on that legacy of innovation. So I come from an angle of femtech, medtech, and innovating in women's health. And it's such an important thing these days, where we only see about 2% of investment going into women's health research. And yet women make up half the population, right? There's such a discrepancy in how we're looking at these issues, these global issues and these women's issues. And I think if we look at history, we can see these themes in how women have overcome adversity, right? And how they have powered through and how they have made and affected change. And by looking at that, I think it can really inspire how we move forward.
I love that. You brought up a huge point, particularly with the medical community. Think back in the day, women couldn't even be doctors, even though they were smart as doctors. They were doing things that doctors were doing. They couldn't be doctors. They had to be, quote unquote, subservient. So they became nurses, right? And then eventually things evolved. And I think about one of the women in the past who was an amazing trailblazer. And Lesley brought up her friend that left an impression on her that was born in the era where there were still slaves. And so I think about Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was a slave who, helped other slaves become free via the Underground Railroad. But I don't think a lot of people know that she was also a spy in the Civil War. And she helped bring information to the Union Army as she crossed the Confederate lines to gather this information that helped the Union win the war. And then also how she supported in her late age the women's suffrage movement when there was no way that she was ever going to see anyone that looked like her be able to vote, but she was all in support of helping women to take command of their destiny. And there are many women like that. And so it's beautiful to see and talk about this stuff, because I think sometimes our younger generations of female, they don't get this information. If you think about when you were in school and the information that we learned versus, I'm going to say me, maybe Lesley, I think I'm the oldest one here, but what I learned in school and what they're learning in school today is completely different, particularly when it comes to, the topic of women and women, her stories are being talked about. So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful information. And I'm glad we have this show to dialogue and share, our wisdom. Lesley, what are your thoughts? Like, what do you believe is the most powerful legacy that women in history have left upon us? And how can our present and future female generations benefit from this information?
They fought for equality, and then women really fought for equality, and we deserved it. We needed it. One of the things I think is important that's happening now, that I'm just now seeing coming about, is that women are, we're by nature soft, right? We're caring, we're nurturing. That's just our DNA. It's how we're made up. But what I think is really quite wonderful is that women are able to now be, firm and be strong in the workplace, but then they can go home and allow their husbands to be that masculine. And I think that is huge. And if there's anything we could teach our young people, men and women, not just women, but men and women, that women, it's okay for you to be equal in the workforce. But when you come home, ladies, I'm sorry, but I want somebody that I can just fall down and they're going to be my hero. They're going to be my Spartan warrior, all sweaty and, fight for me, right? And keep me safe, because it gets tiring. We give so much emotionally where men don't. That's how they're built, is to be that strong person. So I think that if there's one thing that young women can know, is that it's okay to be that powerhouse in the workplace. But make sure that when you have come home, that you have a Spartan warrior waiting for you with a glass of wine. Because if he's not, he just better need to do that. Or a shot of whiskey.
I love it. I love it. I love that. What about you, SuZan? What are your thoughts?
Amen to that. I love what the ladies shared, and I'm with Lesley on the equality part. And I really believe, just like Lesley said, that there's only one human race. I believe we are one, and us uniting with men, because there are so many men also fighting for us and for our rights, and that each one, I'm getting more goosebumps, is to acknowledge that softness, as Lesley said, is actually very powerful, and for us not to think that we're being weaker, because there's the divine masculine and feminine in both men and women, and for us to rise when there is a need at the office, and then come back and fall into our softness. And because men, just like they are able to be there for us, I think they need our softer feminine side as well, because they're not the emotionals, and they need that as their rock as well. So we are actually being very strong for them at the same time while being in our soft feminine. So I think it's the yin and yang, and I think it's beautiful for us to be in conscious conversations like these so that we can generate healthier men and women for the future generations as well.
I love that. I love that you could go out and be a powerhouse in the world and command your empire, but when you come home, it's okay to put your feet up, have your feet massaged. You don't have to wear the pumps and the power suit. You can put on a little slinky nightie and walk around in your pumps if you want to, but put your feet up and relax. And also, I think it's important that as ladies allow
Take your bra off and put on a pair of sweats, my friends.
I love it. But and I also think it's important for us, the ladies, to allow men to help us with the household chores. It's evolved. When when I was growing up as a kid in my family, my mom went to work just like my dad. She came home, she took care of his kids, she cooked the dinner, so all of that. As kids had to clean up the house. We learned at a young age. But when as I evolved, I took on that's just what we women are supposed to do. And so later I realized that, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to designate cooking to the male. You know what I mean? Everybody got to learn somehow, right? And
Amen.
Really good. But I think sometimes we fall into the pathways of our previous generations. And, depending on your ethnicity, it's how you're raised, it's how you're raised to, take care of things. But in today's world, everybody works. There are some stay-at-home moms, but, mainly women work. They have a business, they have a career, they're doing something outside the house, and they don't need to have all the responsibilities put upon their shoulders. So I think it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We've got to take another quick break, ladies, but we'll be back. All of you to the blissful, I knew that was going to come out. The blissful living, bold, unstoppable show. We'll be right back. So stay tuned. All righty. This is Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous. And I have these wonderful ladies, and we're dialoguing because this is Women's History Month. So now I want to talk about your ladies, meaning you three ladies, your HerStory. What's a moment in your life when you knew you were making your own mark? And let's go ahead and start with you, Lesley. What's a moment in your life when you realized, you know what? I'm creating my own path. I'm going to trailblaze this path, and I'm going to create it the way I want to. And I don't really give a damn what anybody thinks, because this is all about me and my life and the mark that I want to leave for future female generations.
I think that goes into my purpose. It's too long of a story to really explain, but I can shorten it and just say, when God hit that reset button on my life, he hit it really, really hard. And I had to start all over again. And it all started with somebody asking me, who are you and why are you here? Well, actually, she just said, who are you? And when I explained my outer world, she said, no, who are you inside? And when God hit that reset button, I'm telling you what, I melted down mentally, emotionally, and I started over from scratch. And I didn't let anybody help me except my team of doctors and my family and everybody was gone, right? No friends, no nothing. And I said to God, I'm going to figure this out, because I couldn't find him, right? I couldn't find God. I mean, that's where we go to when we have nowhere else to go and we can't figure stuff out, right? That's when the shit hits the fan. We're like, I'm losing it. And so we go to God, but God wasn't answering. And so he and I had a holy war. God and I had a serious holy war. And I said, you know what? I don't understand why you are not there for me when I was doing everything for you. So when I'm just going to live my life according to me, from the inside of what I think is right and what I think is wrong. And when I die, we'll just figure it out then,
I love it.
I'm serious. I did. I said, God, that's fine. And I'll tell you what, there's not one single day that he was not standing by me, even through it. And he did it on purpose so that I serve my purpose of what I'm doing now. There was a meaning behind it. So if I'd have to say what was the most valuable thing, is when he hit that reset button, and God, he hit it hard. God hit it very hard, right? I'm not supposed to be here. I should have never lived through what I did. But
Wow.
I'm so grateful. I am so grateful. So grateful
Oh,
because you guys, it's life is beautiful. Life is beautiful.
I love it.
And
I love it. I love it that you had a moment in your life that was a pivotal moment, and it involved, having a dialogue with the divine, because sometimes we don't understand why we're going through what we're going through. And, sometimes we have to have our conversation with the divine and let it all out, lay it all out on the table, right? And some people might not agree with that, but I think in the context of doing that, we discover that we are meant for more. And this is just that one moment in time. And when we get through it, we become on the other side so much wiser, stronger, fierce, and fearless. And so I absolutely love that. What about for you, Miss SuZan? What was that moment in your life when you knew you were making your own mark? What was that pivotal moment for you?
I love Leslie's story. Thank you so much. And your show is just so fantastic. Love your energy. Love it. Thank you, Doc. I haven't known much, and the more I learn now, I just shared this with my precious beloved, my peak performers, my clients. The more I learn, the more I realize I don't know anything. The one knowing I've had since childhood is that this is my mission. This is my divine purpose. I literally don't work a day in my life, and it's a joy, it's a privilege. I'm humbled. I'm getting more goosebumps to be a human and to serve our human race. But I never believed in myself because of my own mental programming and the leash that we've put on ourselves in society and media and mass media and upbringing has put on us. And it was right before COVID. Very long story short. Again, I was done. I was a successful realtor in Toronto, and I'm like, this isn't my purpose. I want to be a speaker and a coach, and I want to leave a dent, make this a better world. And I didn't have any clients. One decision, because I always teach her one decision away from a completely different life. I made one powerful decision, had no idea COVID was going to hit a month later, to retire from real estate. This was right before COVID in January of 2020. I retired from real estate to pursue what I'm doing now over 5.5 years. And the number one Remax worldwide, Remax Realty, happened to be in my backyard. It's Remax Hallmark. It's a Toronto office, and they filled up all of my spots during COVID. And Doc, I'm just starting to scratch, to be very authentic and honest, the surface of what's possible. I mean, I want to serve all the billions that are living and breathing. This is my life's mission and work and devotion and dedication. So I'm just getting started, okay? But
Oh, I
that's the story
love
in a nutshell.
I love
Yeah.
that. I can relate to the whole real estate thing. I have a broker's license. I'm a Jane of all trades, so to speak, but not using it right now. It's a California broker's license, but I did do real estate. And in one of my things was when the real estate fiasco crashed, I was doing it, but I did the very first successful short sale in my
Ooh.
city, my county, and then I began teaching others and how to do it, And so I have had many moments that I think were my pivotal moments, but for me, it's just the essence of making sure women and our future female generations know that wellness, wisdom, and wealth. When you have wellness, wisdom, and wealth, you can do anything your heart desires. Everything is not going to be easy, and some things going to be super easy, but you can do anything that your heart desires. And that's what someone shared with me years and years ago. A very famous athlete when I was a kid. And so it just kind of stuck with me. Okay, so now I want to jump into our next question. In your opinion, what progress have women truly made? And where do you believe the biggest gaps still remain for our gender? And Rebecca, I'll start with you on that.
Yeah, I think there's certainly been a lot of progress made over history, but there's still a long way to go. And I don't think that we can get there ourselves. I really think that we need to have sponsorship from our male counterparts. We do need to seek more of that community in each other. We need to build each other up and not see threat in each other, right? So I think that there's some narrative shift that needs to happen around how we do that. Why can't somebody else be successful at the same time as myself? Why can't I be happy for that person who's, maybe it's as simple as they're getting married or they're having a child, right? Maybe they're growing their business. Maybe they're a competitor of mine. Why can't I also be happy for them? I think as I build in this wonderful space of femtech, there are so many wonderful companies out there who are doing similar parallel things to HerStory, or completely different out there things that don't have anything related to what we're doing except that it's for women. And I think that we can all come together to build that path forward and make sure that we're moving things forward for women, right? So I think where some of the gaps are that could be filled is in those conversations and shifting that narrative.
I like that. I mean, there you articulated it very well. Do you ladies agree with Rebecca? Yeah, I mean, I think so too. We've got to take another quick break, but we'll be right back to the Bold Unstoppable Show with Rebecca, SuZan, and Lesley, and of course me, Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Okay, we are back to the Bold Unstoppable Show. And this dialogue has been really, really beautiful because I believe that as we all set out and continue doing what our God-given divine mission is, we're actually empowering our future female generations, and we're informing them, and we're embracing not only our past female generations, but bestowing the wisdom onto our future female generations as well. So I want to ask this question to you ladies, and whoever wants to take it, feel free to jump in. Why is it so important for women to tell their stories? And how has storytelling shaped your own healing or your empowerment journey? And whoever wants to take that.
All right, I'll just tell you. Nobody else is talking, and I can just talk forever. I think that honestly, learning who I was, we all, and I don't care if you're a male, female, I don't, whatever you want to refer yourself as, when you know who you are and you do not let other people, this is huge, when you don't let other people define you and you stop looking for other people to complete you, the world is going to be beautiful. That's all it takes, you guys. That's all it takes is don't let other people define you, and do not let other people do something that you're supposed to do for yourself. I couldn't have said it any better. Ooh, that was brilliant, wasn't it? That was
girl, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yes,
I love that.
Yes.
Here, look, I'm gonna pretend like this is a mic and I just dropped it.
That's
I saw
what
that.
it takes.
Brilliant.
That's all healing's about, you guys. That's all that healing's about. And when I went through this process and I had to pick this stuff up and face my own shit, I'm telling you what, you learn a lot, and it's very humbling. But those are the key things: is own yourself, know who you are, right? You're always going to be growing, but never let anybody define you, and never let anybody do for you what you can do for yourself. You just have to, everything will be beautiful then.
I love it. Again, I think about the trailblazing ladies that blaze their path, such as the Oprahs and the Harriet Tubmans and the Melinda Gates and the Sheryl Sandbergs and the Susan Blakeleys. And I can't think of the gal that started Sprinkles Cupcakes down in Hollywood. That was LA, Beverly Hills. But each one of those ladies didn't let anybody tell them anything. They blazed their own trail, and they knew who they were inside. I even think about Michelle Obama. She's a powerhouse lady. And when you hear her talk, she speaks the truth and it resonates. And it's not a matter of like political affiliation. It's a matter of being a woman and educating and talking to women like women need to be taught. Just like Lesley, she just talked, she gave us some real shit, right? Most women don't want to hear that. They don't want to dig and peel the layers to find themselves. not what their husband want, not what their mama want, not what their daddy want, not what their grandparents want, but what they truly are that resonates within themselves. And when you can do that, just like Lesley said, you become your own queen, commanding your own throne, and you become powerful, because then you're void of all the external noise. Michelle Obama, she's brilliant. She's void of all the external noise. Oh, you should run for president. She's like, oh no, I shouldn't run for president. Oh, you should do this. Oh, no, I shouldn't do that. You know, I'm just here voicing to help empower women so we can stand in our greatness. And so I love what you shared, Lesley. I think it's super powerful. We got to take another quick break, but we'll be right back to the Bold Unstoppable Show. Don't you dare go away. We will be right back in just a few moments. Welcome back to this very powerful segment of the Bold Unstoppable Show, where us women, the four of us, are really tackling some issues, chiming out some words of wisdom, and sharing some gifts that not only that we have, but those gifts that were bestowed upon us by women that we were in connection and contact with. And so I want to ask this question. What does legacy mean to you? And what are you doing right now, intentionally or intuitively, to build a legacy for the future female generations? And SuZan, I'm going to start with you.
Oh my. I love Lesley's answer as well, and I'm 100% in alignment there, whether you're a man or a woman. And legacy is literally unbecoming. You are already a spark of the divine, is my belief. You are me, I am me. We are all one. And I love what Rebecca said, if we could all empower each other, whether it be men or women, because really you winning is me winning. And I'm getting more goosebumps here today. So legacy would be, like, for me, it's to touch the billions personally, but it starts with me. I'm a firm believer of what Mahatma Gandhi says. It's the basis of what we do at the Supercharge headquarters worldwide, is that be the change you wish to see in the world. And Michelle Obama has said something very similar in a book I'm studying with my Billionaires Club. So it's all about awareness, basically, for us, very linked to what Lesley said, is that once you're aware of who you are, whether you're man or woman, you now, because the opposite, what Bob Proctor, one of my mentors, would say from The Secret, is ignorance. And that is what's caused the chaos in the world, is when we're aware of our divinity, right? That's it. That's that you basically can't take anything else with you other than who you've become. You can leave your millions and billions, but that isn't what you can take with you, is who you've become. And I believe everyone is Michelangelo and Michelangelo's David at the same time. That is my firm belief. And you're really not becoming a new Dr. Rochel, a new Lesley, a new Rebecca. You're removing all of the lies, all of the programming, the leashes that they've tightened on us, the prison they've put us in, so that you can become the awareness of the queen, literally born in the perfect vibration, literally a child of God. And I use the word God interchangeably with every other word,
God.
Universe, yes, energy. And that once you know that, you're unstoppable, and you're here, like, who you are is pure divine liquid love. So my legacy is to be that. Very easy to sit and talk about it, right? And then by me being in that vibration, being that change I wish to see in my human race, basically. And that's what I believe in, and to become the highest version of myself, so that I can inspire my human race to be the same. And that's the only thing I can take with me, the only thing I really want to leave behind, quite frankly. So,
I love that. I love that. You know, you can have all the money in the world, but you can't take it with you when you die. So, you know, why not leave legacy via what you do, how you act, how you show up, how you talk to yourself, how you talk to others, how you represent the essence, the queen that you are. I don't think women understand that you don't have to be like Queen Elizabeth, bless her soul, to be a queen. We are all queens. And without us queens, there is no birth happening. You know what I mean? Of course, you need a male to fertilize the egg,
yes.
But we're the vessel. And for 9 months, that embryo is developing within us and has the closest bond to us. We are powerful. And when you think about that right there, that should enliven you to know that no one external of you can tell you who you are, what you represent, and what you're here to do. Only if you allow them to do it. I have to think about this beautiful track and field athlete, Wilma Rudolph. Wilma Rudolph was born quote unquote crippled. She had braces on her leg. Who would have ever thought? People told her she wanted to run. She's like, people like, you got braces on the leg, girl. You lucky you can barely walk, right? Who would have told? If she would have held on to that, she would not become one of the first African American Olympic gold medalists. She broke records. And here it was this lady, this girl who grew up in, with braces on her leg, that broke the bonds of the braces to become that trendsetter, telling every other little girl, no matter what color you are, you can do whatever it is you want to do when you break those bonds that are placed upon you by society and yourself. And so I just think that when I think about just so many women, for instance, another lady, we're in Silicon Valley, we're running our businesses. This is the late 80s, 90s, it's a male dominated industry. The corporate world is, I don't care it's still a male dominated industry. But when there was a list of the top 50 women-owned businesses in Silicon Valley, I was on that list, but I wasn't at the top. The top lady was an Asian woman this is electronics, not tech. It was electronic age. We're still making chips and components for the Cold War, right? The number one lady on that list at the time was making $855 million. She was the top owned business in Silicon Valley. And when I asked her what her secret to success was, she says, I never let a man define what I can do. Only I can define what I do in here and in my heart. And when I know that I have something to share with the world, I'm going to do it. And she said, honey, I suggest you do the same thing. And I was like, oh, wow, I wasn't expecting that. But that's the truth. We can't let others define what we do and create our legacies based on what they see for us and not what we see for us. Okay, time for one last question. If you can leave one powerful message behind for the next generation of bold and unstoppable women in 5 to 10 words, what would it be? And let's start with you, Rebecca.
Yeah, I'd say just start. If there's something that you want to do, just start. Don't feel held back. It's along the theme of what we were just discussing. Just do it. And what could happen? What's the worst that could happen? Nothing will happen if you don't even try.
I love it. Love it. What about you, Suzanne? Susan. I keep saying Suzanne. Susan.
I know it's written it's I tell you, I love Rebecca's answer. I would say, and I'm going to steal the first 2 words, just start or just do it, and get curious about learning about yourself and your divinity. Know who you are. Know how limitlessly powerful you are. And how you are a true queen. As you said, we don't need crowns to be queens. You are it. And that men are kings.
Yes. And Lesley, words of wisdom.
I would have to say, oh my gosh, I just had it in my head and it just totally escaped me. But I got it. I'd have to say, surround yourself with as many people as you can that share your same values, principles, morals, ethics, blah, blah, blah. But everything else, make sure they are so far different from you that it ranges the entire world, because that is how you are going to truly know who you are.
Wow. Oh, I love this. I've been loving this conversation. Well, I don't know about all of you. I think if I had to say something, one powerful message that I could leave behind for the next generation of unstoppable women, it would be command your empire as if it was your God-given destiny. Command your empire as if it was your God-given destiny, because no one can command your empire like you, like Queen Nefertiti or Queen Elizabeth. No one could command their empires like them. And I'm wishing all of you young ladies, future next female generations, own you, own you and command your empire. All right, woo, 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 woo. I don't know about you, but my heart is on fire. My spirit is lifted, and my fire within my heart, it may have been on fire, it's on fire now, but that fire was reignited during our conversation today. Today, we didn't just talk about her story, we embodied it. We honored the women who paved the way for us. We mentioned some of them. There's so many that we weren't able to mention during the context of the show, but look them up and see and pull something from each and every one of them, because those that created their own her story are the most powerful women that you can learn from, and they can help you to carry your torch just a little bit easier. And we spoke life into women rising to meet their moment. Here's something else that I want to leave with you is you are your her story in motion. Remember that you are your her story in motion, and you have a future female generation. You have future female generations. You may not have a daughter, but you might have granddaughters. You might have great granddaughters, and so on. What is it that you want them to remember you for as you step out and command it, being that bold, bad, and unstoppable, fearless queen that I know you are? From every bold decision you make, every challenge you overcome, every hand you hold, and every voice you raise weaves a thread into the fabric of our collective power as women. Legacy isn't always loud, queens. Sometimes it's the quiet choice that keeps us going, the kind words, the brave yes when you really wanted to say no, but you said yes anyways. The refusal to shrink and to stand out in front, because you know you standing out front, you are being a leader and you're giving other women permission to live their lives and lead as well. So go out and live your legacy unapologetically. And remember, you do not need a permission slip to take up space. You were born to make history. To my beautiful, brilliant panelists, thank you for your gift of being with us today, for sharing your wisdom, your her story, and what was inside your heart. You lit a path for all of us. And to each of you watching, this is what we are doing on the Bold Unstoppable show. The future is not just female, it's being a fierce, brave, bold, and unstoppable queen, because we're all queens. And even though you might be a princess, just know you're queen in training. I'm Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, your queen of feeling fabulous, and this has been the Bold Unstoppable show. Subscribe to the show and share it with everyone you love and care about. And until next time, live boldly, love fearlessly, and keep writing your chapter of unstoppable greatness. Until next time, goodbye for now.